Hey gang, Hammersill here. As you can see in this game, we've got Reejr playing the Kamikaze R. Got a pretty even split of Tier 7, Tier 6, and Tier 5 ships in this game. As a general rule, Kamikaze, any of the Kamikaze sisters, the Kamikaze R, the Kamikaze, or the Fuji, they up tier very well. There's not a whole lot of radar at Tier 7. And the Kamikaze has a 5.4 kilometer detection radius, assuming you've got at least a 10-point commander and got the concealment skill. That combined with 3 sets of torpedo tubes that have a 7-kilometer range, giving you a 1.6 kilometer stealth firing window. And the torpedoes hit really hard, make this ship a serious threat, especially in the hands of somebody who's experienced and knows how to make the most of it. Now, as you can see, Reejr's opted to go for the Alpha Cap. There are no aircraft to worry about in this game, so he doesn't have to worry about a CV parking planes over the top of him and half the enemy team or more firing shells at him. Because one area where the Kamikaze sisters really do lack is hit points. You can see he's got 11,100 hit points. If you get detected and you get a few enemy ships pointing their guns your way, it does not take long to sink this ship. But if you can manage to stay unseen and make good use of those torpedoes, the ship can have a devastating impact on the enemy team. Now you can see that Reejr's got the radio location or radio position finder. Depending upon how long you've been playing the game, you're going to think about it differently. But it's the captain skill or commander skill that gives you the general direction of the nearest enemy ship. And you can see that that's right where Reejr is looking. And you can tell by the little semicircular thing that's on the screen above his aiming reticule. So he knows somebody's there, somebody's heading this way. He's just not sure exactly how far away they are yet. Is it the Prinz Eitel Friedrich? Is it something that's closer? Is there a DD out there ahead of that? But the closest one that he can see is still 12.765 kilometers out. Now Reejr's pushing up here, and this is risky because if for example, if the Mahan comes around that corner, he'll be terribly outgunned. But if it doesn't, and if he doesn't get detected, he'll be able to make good use of these torpedoes right off the bat. So Reejr secures the cap, which is that's great for his team because you can see that the enemy secured the Charlie cap, and it looks like the good guys are going to secure Bravo. So that's going to give his team an edge immediately. But in the meantime, the friendly Aoba has already been sunk. And you can see by the mini-map there at Foxtrot 6, the Aoba showed broadside to everybody and got blapped. Now Reejr pushes in a little bit too close. You can see he's at 5.4 kilometers right now and gets detected. That actually really works for him because the captain of that Prinz Eitel Friedrich decides I'm going to maneuver, and when he does, yeah, he shows broadside to all those incoming torpedoes. And that is that. There's no way he's going to survive. Nicely done, Reejr. So that's one down. And the Congo has decided discretion may be the better part of valor, and he's just going to try and get the heck out of Dodge. I'm sure you can read the writing on the wall. You know, you got an Ismail, Ashitaka, Miyoko, New Mexico, Congo, all pushing this way. Now, as a DD player, I hate to see the Ismail and Ashitaka go around that island, but they are. The fight really at this point is at the Bravo cap. The trick here is to hang on to it. You can see you get a friendly Sims, Monokukuli, Oklahoma, and Ganiza now, as well as a Bajani. But the Bajani, I don't think he's going to last long. You can see there's a Nicholas on one side, the Mahan on the other. He's got an Aoba, Monokukuli, Haguro. A lot of ships pushing his way. Bajani is, yeah, he's in big trouble, and he goes down to fire from the enemy Aoba. Now, I'm certainly not criticizing, but I will say that if it were me, I would probably be coming to starboard and crossing behind the Congo, Alberto's Congo, to try to get ahead of the, well, that's Crom's, I guess, in the other Congo, to get ahead of that Congo in the Colorado. Your torpedoes are fast, but they're not fast enough to catch up to a retreating Congo. Now, if you get to 5.4 kilometers, maybe they catch a Congo, but the Congo can run at 30 knots or so, so they're going to outrun torpedoes. But now Reejr appears to be doing the same thing, but he's just following a little different tack. He's going to swing outside where I would have swung inside. And he may catch that Congo, depending upon how that Congo keeps his line. If he comes any more to starboard as he comes around that island, then he might catch him. But I have a feeling he's going to continue to roll outside, and it's debatable whether the torpedoes are going to have the range to be able to catch him. We'll see. It's going to be close. No, he's going to outrun it. He did go outside, and you're going to see the torpedoes vanish. If they were, 8 or 9 kilometer torpedoes, maybe they hit that Colorado, but still, very near thing, and I'm sure all three of those battleship captains saw the torpedoes and are now aware that they're being hunted by Reejr and his Kamikaze. Okay, so big picture. Good guys have lost 3 cruisers, bad guys have lost 2 battleships and a destroyer. Good guys have 2 caps, bad guys have 1. And the good guys have a roughly 150 point lead, which is fairly significant, but we're only just shy of 7 minutes into the game, so there's a lot of time for this to change. Now, Reejr's range is awful close. You can see he's targeting the Colorado. If it were me, I'd be targeting this Crom's Congo. The 2 that are out there, there's 0 chance of hitting. He's at 6.7 kilometers, 6.8 kilometers. The torpedoes only have 7 kilometers range, whereas you might have had a chance of catching that Congo. But that's all right. So he's smoked up, probably going to make use of the guns here, yep, and maybe we can get some fires started. And now that Congo's moving out of gun range, so time to lay in a pursuit course. Now, I will say that, generally speaking, I try to get close and try to get ahead of pushing ships. I would probably try to cross down this way. I think these guys are going to eventually try and catch up and meet up with these guys to create more of a slowdown for the Congo, New Mexico, Oklahoma. I would have, initially I think I mentioned how to come this way and gotten here. That allows me to put torps here, or long range here. Reejr can stay in pursuit of these guys. It makes it really tough to land torpedoes on them when you're chasing them, though. Again, by the time you get to the 5.5, which is the closest you can get without getting spotted, if they're running away from you, it's hard for your torpedoes to catch up. Now, maybe you got a shot of landing torpedoes on the Colorado doing that, because the Colorado is slow. What's it top out at? Just over 20 kilometers. Those Congos, no way. So we'll see. Yeah, it looks like, okay. It looks like he's going to get detected. He does. Now, why is that important? If you're not a DD player, maybe you're wondering. If you're not experienced with the game, maybe you're wondering. It's important because if the Colorado's captain, if the player of the Colorado is experienced enough and savvy enough, as soon as he sees the Kamikaze, he's going to assume there are torpedoes on the way. And if he's not at full speed, he's going to immediately go to full speed, and he's going to try and outrun them. I think they're going to have the range, and I think they're going to catch him. Yep, 2 hits on the Colorado. Now looking at the mini-map, you can see there's an AOBA out there just outside of the Bravo cap. So Reejr might be maneuvering to avoid getting close to that. It's got very hard-hitting HE shells. But my guess is that the AOBA's got his guns focused on the Oklahoma and in that direction. You can see the Mahan and the Haguro are down there chasing the Sims and the Miyoko. So this game's got an interesting flavor right now. Bad guys are up. They were only down 4 ships. Good guys are down 6. But Reejr's helping with that and finishes off the Colorado. Again, Colorado just not fast enough to be able to stay out of harm's way on this Kamikaze. This Kamikaze is, again, a real threat. You can see there's a Dallas there. Now that's a DD killer, the Dallas. So Reejr wants to do his best to avoid getting caught by that thing. It's got a good rate of fire, a lot of guns, and if you get close to it, it'll make short work of pretty much any DD. I'm watching the minimap. What are these guys doing? I mean, wow. Okay, so Reejr's in position here to really lay some hurt on this Congo at last. I mean, he's chased him across literally the entire map at this point. You can see the blue circle represents the maximum range of Reejr's torpedoes. So if he throws them here, he's got to hope the Congo comes to starboard and does not keep running in a straight line, because if he does, he's liable to outrun the torpedo's range. We'll see. Now Reejr is still, okay, good. I was going to say he's still turning inside to the battleship. I think he needs to turn into the center of the map here and avoid getting detected. Come a little bit more to starboard, a little bit more to starboard. You want to keep your range. Yeah, that's going to hurt. The last 2 just missed. That would have finished him off, but still, a nice drop. And they're already back up. Torpedoes are up. So, with any luck at all, if Congo doesn't just turn and straight up run away from you, you'd be in good shape. But Dallas does spy you. The smart thing there was definitely to smoke up. You do not want Dallas to be able to get guns on you. But what Reejr has done now, in pursuit of that Congo, is he's put himself in a situation where he's literally surrounded by bad guys. He's got a King George on his starboard. He's got a Congo ahead starboard. Got a Dallas ahead port and a Congo to port. All of them, and that Congo's going to flood out. All of them, if they have HE loaded, can do significant damage and nothing flat to a Kamikaze. Now, Kamikaze is very small, it's harder to hit, but okay, good. He's out of detection range of the Dallas, but the KGV, the King George, is moving in on the other side. I think I might have used the torpedoes on the King George myself. It's much less maneuverable. Congo goes down to flooding, and Reejr is now turning right into the King George and will be detected. Reejr does finish off Dallas. That was a nice drop, and that's a valuable kill because Dallas was a real significant gun threat. Now that AOBA again has really good HE. KGB keeps reversing. He's dead in just about 20-30 seconds. Congo is no longer able to detect him, so as soon as Reejr's able to get out of range of the King George, he should be good. I can't come to starboard anymore. You're going to get spotted again by the Congo. You gotta, yeah, detect it. King George kept turning, and he managed to avoid all the torpedoes. Reejr's got torpedoes back up in 4 seconds, and appears not to care that he's detected at this point. He's in pretty good shape, but he's only got half his hit points. And Congo is, of course, going to try and evade the torpedoes that he knows have to be on the way. Bad guys now only have 4 ships. Or, excuse me, the good guys now only have 4 ships. Bad guys have 5, and the bad guy points until Reejr does that. For those keeping score, that's a Kraken for Reejr. Now, good guys are down to 3 ships. Bad guys have 4. But the bad guys also have all the caps. Now, Reejr is plainly trying to get out ahead of what that Aoba may do by throwing torps out at various angles. Trying to catch him as he's pushing in. And Reejr's perhaps thinking he's going to try and cap here. Aoba, to avoid torpedoes, is showing a little bit aside to the Ismail. Meanwhile, the friendly Sims is down at the Alpha Cap, squaring off with the enemy Mahan. And Sims appears to be securing that cap. We'll see how this goes. Reejr's going to get into this cap, and if he can't secure it, at least stop their points from continuing to accrue from this cap. Ismail sailing broadside to the King George and the Aoba. But Ismail's a very tough ship. Now, one thing that the Ismail has to be careful of here is Aoba has torpedoes, and they are very hard-hitting Japanese torpedoes. Yep, hit points that low, you can potentially finish off the Aoba. Probably should have aimed a little higher and a little. There you go. Aim higher. You want to hit superstructure. These shells are very small. And against armor plating, they generally do a whole heck of a lot. Try and hit that conning tower if you can. Still aiming a little too low. You can see they all just bounced. If Reejr had aimed a little higher into the superstructure and hit the conning tower, I think he probably would have done enough damage to finish him off. But either way, as soon as that Aoba comes around the corner, the Ismail's going to punish him. The question is, did Aoba throw torps out here into the smoke before he crossed behind the island? There they are. Ismail, he narrowly avoids getting smacked with those torpedoes. But the good guys now have 2 caps. Bad guys have 135 or so point lead. Sims is still down there doing what he can, but the Haguro is down there helping Mahan. And Sims is probably just doing what he can not to get sunk at this point. You can see he doesn't have a whole lot of hit points either. And he manages to finish off the Mahan. That's awesome. Really great play from Sims. And, you know, let's not neglect to say clearly and without a shade of doubt, Reejr is having a commanding game here. 5 kills, 157 plus 1,000 damage, a solo cap, an assist cap, 16 torpedoes landed, 6 floods. He's broken something on enemy ships 5 times. He's detected right now. Now this is a tough spot to be in. I don't think I would have gotten quite this close. And he's put himself really into a corner here. And taking a little bit of damage, as well as losing a gun, at least for short term. He's got to get out of this little spot here because this is just a death trap. I think I might have swung, yeah, there you go. Swing the ship the other way. And I think I would just keep reversing. You got 15 seconds till you get smoked back up. Now that KGV player, if he knows what's what, he's slowing way down. He's probably anticipating torpedoes. still. Reejr manages to land one. That puts him at almost 168,000 damage. And this thing's nearly over. 11 seconds to go. It's going to come down to this. Can they finish him off? They did. Great job, Reejr. Thanks for sending the replay file. Really appreciate it, brother. This was super fun to watch. You did a heck of a job, man. And to those of you watching, thanks very much. I'll see you next time.